All right, it is finally that time. The gacha space is drowning in boredom. There's nothing much going on. There's drought. We are thirsty for some new content, and NTE is finally here to give us just that. The NTE live stream has just rolled. They went over so much. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. However, I feel like the main takeaway from this live stream, especially considering my conversation the other day within the Gacha Smack podcast, is the only way the gacha games we have currently for them to kind of get their head out of whatever box they have it in and stop smelling and enjoying the smell of their own gas is definitely a new strong competitor within the market to wake them up and to do better towards us the players. Because if there's one thing we can guarantee for sure is that there's a clear lack of efforts towards us the consumer, as we have seen recently, even from a gaming company like Kuro Games, who is inherently known, who spawned the whole meme of devs listened, are not listening anymore. They're just doing the bare minimum. Minimizing costs seems to be the format in which these gacha companies are operating under, and the only way for them to somehow wake up from this is through a new strong competitor, which I do believe neverness to everness to be just that. Now, neverness to everness was something people scoffed at some point. We all did, especially when Anancha got released. Everybody were like, man, NTE is just dead on spawn, man. There's nothing. The reason why NTE is so hyped right now is because I feel like also the developers have really listened to feedback, because let's face it, the first beta test, a lot of people complained about that. There was a lot of negatives thrown towards the game. The devs took that, went back to the kitchen, and now have served us finally a well-served game that we can all enjoy. Now, without further ado, I left some notes here which we will go over here. I want to start off by saying shouts out to developers when it comes to the graphics. There's an amazing improvement from the beta to here. Shouts out to them, as well as the artists within the NTE staff. Shouts out to you guys. I feel like every single character seems distinct. This is of course the classic of this character looks like this character, etc. But I do feel like there's this distinct detail that when you see a character you can recognize is from neverness to everness. It's something I appreciate. Shouts out to you. The music, however, I do want to point that out. Like, I feel like, shouts out to Persona, man. We gotta hey, Persona be helping the heck out of games, especially like in Wuthering Waves. When I'm using the motorbike, I'm always, you already know, I'm on Full Moon Life and stuff. Like, I'm always on the Persona section of the tracks, right? Shouts out to Persona, man. I'm very happy to see them over here in NTE as well on Spawn. NTE, this is something that you will hear more and more as we go over the list of the things they did. NTE is taking the best elements of what other games are doing and implementing them already on Spawn. They are not making us wait. They want to make sure that all the things we lack from other titles, that they have them as well, so that, well, let's just say they can grab some of the players over there to them, because there's already an existing market and they want to win us over. Like I always keep saying, you are the consumer, you are the prize. Let these gacha companies fight for you, and the one that deserves you the most, as in the one that does the most towards you, is the one you should, let's just say, be more loyal towards, is what I feel like personally, so that we can have a good player to consumer so that we can have a good consumer to developer relationship. And let's get into a bit of the nitty gritty. The combat. Now, the combat, I feel like didn't showcase too much, but I feel like they showcased enough where I feel like my main concern is going to be the lack of camera angle work. I don't know if you've noticed, but it feels kind of, it's like ZZZ. I feel like it's the closest thing, but without it being too dynamic and flashy in how the characters move and stuff. I just couldn't help but feel like it feels somewhat, not too much, somewhat sluggish. Maybe it's that ADHD on how we were conditioned by the games being a little too fast now. Something like Wuthering Waves and ZZZ are slightly too fast. Maybe it's just the camera work that needs more work in the combat to make the combat feel more dynamic. It's just a small thing I've noticed. I could be way off on this one, because I just went off what I've seen on the live stream. But let me know, please, in the comments below. Like I said at the start, we will have a 6 elements system, kind of like Genshin Impact. They're like not necessarily earth, fire, and stuff, like psychic, chaos. I don't know what those are. But it seems like we're going to have a elemental reaction system in the addition of the weakness bar, like that SSR introduced and that Wuwa also uses. We're going to have that with a element weakness where the enemy is going to have a weakness to a particular element like Honkai Star Rail, plus with the addition of intro skills, just like Wuthering Waves, you're already seeing the pattern here. They're obviously taking elements from very popular titles, implementing all of them into one thing. So the more games you've played, the more rewarded you are for already knowing systems that are already there, thus making you ahead of the curve in the learning curve. So next, I do want to talk about the game gives a more chill vibe more than a hack and slash combat vibe. Like, it's not there for you to, kind of like Wuthering Waves, where it's like, oh, it's a sweaty game. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have sweaty elements in the game, but I don't think it's gonna be as sweaty as other games. Obviously, the game wants you to drive around because you can drive cars in this. Shouts out to Porsche. We're all getting a Porsche, chat. We're all getting a Porsche in game. All right, they're getting yachts IRL. We're getting Porsches, but in game, tough, man, tough. Anyway. The game definitely wants you to do just that, to drive around the free ports they're giving you. To there's this first-person POV, like you can literally just keep walking as in first person, which is pretty good. There's also dating sims for all the gooners out there. Now, I don't know how to feel about dating an anime girl in a video game, to be honest with you, but if that's your shtick, I mean, hey, more power to you. I'm not gonna judge. I know a lot of, the gooners are kind of looked down on, but hey, shouts out to you if you know what you want in life and you enjoy that. Just make sure it doesn't hurt your IRL, and please goon away. Next up, I do want to talk about, this is all fun and all, right? To have you just drive around, goon around and all that. But my main concern is going to be for someone casual like me who, let's just say, is not much of a gooner, is not much of a drive. I do like racing games, right? I did like them when I was a kid, and I do enjoy a car. But I do want the world be immersive and be dynamic. The side quests are pretty good. I will always reference The Witcher 3, my favorite game of all time, because the reason why I replayed The Witcher 3 like 10 times, if not more. And the reason why I do that, because most of my playthroughs are pretty much never identical. Like, there's so many angles in which you can tackle the game. And you want to know the shock factor? To this day, every playthrough, I find something new. A side quest I've never done, this small detail in a quest, that just this document you can read, like just quick read, actually changes your perspective towards the entire quest. And this random monster you found, it turns out it was cursed by this random NPC that was in love with the woman and made her a monster. So that he tried to make her fall in love with him, but it turns out the witch he went to get her to fall in love with, she messed that up and made her a monster. I know a bit of a tangent here, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's all these minute details, these side quests, these elements that makes the world immersive enough to make me want to look around. This is very important. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it, and this is just I hope. They're trying to copy GTA, right? GTA has multiple endings, I think. And I'm not too familiar with GTA, correct me if I'm wrong, but depending on your choices and depending on how you go about things, you get a particular ending, right? I think a lot of these games have that. I want NTE to have something similar. I want my choices to matter. I want all of us as a community to have different endings. This is going to be a big hope of mine, not only for NTE, but even something like Wuthering Waves going forward. I think we should have player choices will matter towards the character's outcome in the story. I think we should have that. And if we're already going down the path, for example, what SSR did, like when they killed off Ting Yun, if characters can still be playable even if they're dead and no one cares, so what's the big deal for not killing off characters because of our choices? You know what I mean? That should matter a lot, which gives weight to the story, which gives weight to our choices, which I feel like makes the game and story more immersive to the player, because what you pick and the choices you make matter for the fate of not only the character but the world around you, even for NPCs, especially NPCs and especially side quests. But that's just me hoping. That's just me hoping, because I keep going back to the reason as to why I keep playing The Witcher 3, and I'm not that excited about stories in the Gacha game, for example. Like I haven't even done this Greek quest yet, and I feel like The Witcher 3 goes about it just because I can choose and there's more weight to my choices. I get to dictate how things happen around me. Matters a lot. So yeah, a man can hope, right? I know this is a lot of work for them in terms of story writing, and it gives them a lot of work because this is a live service game and they have to keep updating and doing this over time. I understand why they don't want to put themselves in this hard situation, but I think it's time. I think just go the extra mile. Just do it for Christ's sake. Next we have, you can drive around a wheelchair. That was funny. I think that was pretty funny. You can choose between a wheelchair and a porch. That's interesting. Next is the skins are already here. We don't have to wait like 5 patches for the skins to be introduced. No, it's on spawn. You can already get skins. And here's the fun part. You don't necessarily have to purchase skins directly. They did a little bit of a surprise there. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the racing PvP. PvP has a racing system. You can race people with the cars. I think we're all going to race each other with a Porsche in game. So that's going to be a lot of fun, which I think is a great thing because it creates a more dynamic and interactive community, which is something I feel like all developers should strive for. It encourages socializing, which I feel like is very important. I do feel like these video games are a great common ground that all of us can build relationships and friendships from, which is great. This is why I love video games and games so much. And next, remember the little thing I said about the skins? Well, it's time to talk about, I feel like what most of us care about. The freebies in the gacha system. Because that kind of makes or breaks a game. So how good is it? Well, let's start off with the weapon system. The weapon banner. Now, the weapon banner is something I'm kind of confused about. I'm not gonna lie. I tried my best to wrap my head around it. But basically what they're saying is they have a 60 pity, which there's a 50-50 chance to get the featured weapon. And there's also an 80 system. Even though you did the 60, after 20 more pulls, you are guaranteed the thing. So nothing goes to waste. So I think technically what they're saying is you can stop at 60, which is I think where pity starts, and you get a 50-50 chance, and you are getting the guaranteed at 80. Now, guarantee is something you kind of have to get used to in this game because, well, guess what? There is no goddamn 50-50, which means tough for all the creators that want to stream poll sessions and create the tension of, can we win the 50-50? That's over in Neverness to Everness, and I do feel like that's the only good thing within the 50-50 system is just that stake tension type of sentiment we get in a poll session with the boys. But other than that, no one genuinely cares. It's a system people dislike. It's a waste of resource. It's a waste of money. No one likes it. Get rid of it. We're all happy there is no 50-50. Now, when it comes to the resources of the weapon system, I'm kind of confused on the how you obtain them. They haven't really went too deep into it. They just said some stuff. All these words and stuff and resources and stuff, all these currencies and stuff. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments below. I'll just pin that stuff. But basically, yeah, you get 60, right? And then 80. Even if you get, I think the guarantee, even if you get the featured weapon at 60, I think you can keep 20 for the next banner. So like 20 more pulls later, you will get another SIG. Is what they're saying, is from what I'm understanding. And of course, the characters are very simple. And of course, this applies when it comes to the character banner. That applies to the standard and limited banner, obviously. Next, we also have the skin system. And also, remember when I talked about the skin system, you don't necessarily have to purchase them from the shop? Well, guess what? Apparently, there is also a built-in skin system within the character that happens to have a skin in the shop. If you pull for the character that has a skin in the shop, you build a second type of pity as you pull for the character itself. So like you're building 2 pities, one for the character and one for the skin. And this pity for the skin never goes away. It remains linked to your account every time you pull for that particular character in question that happens to have a skin that you're trying to get. So which means you can get, by pulling a lot on the character, you can get more of the character, maybe like an E1 or E2 and the skin, which is fantastic. I do feel like for all the try-hard fans of a certain character, you're eating really good. Next, of course, is speaking of copies, this constellation sequence copies, like, you know, when you have copies of a character, like, you can unlock more of their abilities that are locked behind the paywall. Well, you can turn those off now. That's right. For all the C6 Bennett havers, for all the S2 Shorekeeper havers that want to turn that off for testing and stuff, you can finally do that in Neverness to Everness. Why in the hell don't the previous games do that is beyond me. Why do the previous games still have 50-50 despite multiple complaints from us is beyond me. But here we are. This is what I was talking about. This is kind of what I do want to go over Neverness to Everness, of course, but also hopefully for this to be a wake-up call for the community to know that, hey, yo, you don't have to necessarily tolerate that. There will always be other places that can obviously try a different type of model that is less predatory than the already existing model with a AAA experience. The reason why those guys are not doing it is because you're tolerating it. But others will do different to win you over. Clearly, you are the prize. I hope you wake up to that fact. But of course, we just deal with that. And if that wasn't enough, man, the big reveal, man, this shocked the hell out of me. I'm surprised. I don't see everybody just going crazy about it. You are getting a free S tier unit, which is a 5-star unit, S6R5. You are getting a unit maxed out. I never owned that in my life. I think I only have that in like standard units in Genshin Impact because I'm a day one player there. And I think I have it for like just 2. I think like I have Diluc and Mona, which were my first 5 stars in that game. But you're telling me right off the bat, on spawn, chat, on spawn, as you play the game, you are guaranteed an S6R5 unit. That I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. Wuwa could never, Genshin could. This is crazy. And this is the standard we have to hold these gaming companies on. You cannot defend the anniversary and all that. Oh, well, CN and JP are quiet about that. But that's a video for on its own when it comes to the, let's just say, post-war, the dust has settled. Let's talk about the anniversary. We'll talk about with the Wu anniversary. We'll talk about that when the time is right. But you get what I'm trying to say. And of course, you get a bunch of free pulls, you know, like on launch pulls. I think they have like a whole bunch of pulls, but you still have to do everything in the game to get, which is good. But I think you get like 30 or 40 pulls limited for all the re-rollers out there, which is amazing. I love that. I think that's very key. It's very important. The sad part is the hot character is in the second phase. It's not like right on launch. You get like the redhead, but then you have to prepare for the actual hot girl, like she's in the second one. However, I feel like if you can get the red-haired early, you could save up pulls for the black-haired, considering there's no 50-50, so like it's not really a big deal. So I think that's going to be probably the best re-rolling strategy for the average luck gamer, and especially with an average level of patience, because re-rolling requires a lot of patience. So that was the big titles of what they talked about. I do feel like this game is taking every good element of combat, animations, and all that from all different gacha games and implementing in one game so that they bring everybody. If you play SSR, there's something for you that you can recognize. Play Genshin, there's something there. Wuwa, there's something there. They have something for everything there, which is very welcome. They improve, and they obviously improve upon them by implementing all of them at once to give you a better, more streamlined experience than the competitors. Because let's face it, this is a product against a product now. Let me kill a mosquito real quick. And the reason why this is such a big deal, because obviously there's a lot of hoyofication going on within the already existing competitors for Hoyoverse and have been kind of hoyofied. And you were supposed to be the chosen one. You were supposed to be different, right? But it turns out they're doing the exact same thing, which is just a shame. So my hope is definitely going to be to hopefully they can wake up to doing better towards us, the consumers, because if they're not willing to, there will always be new competitors that are willing to do just that and take us away from themselves. Once again, reminding us that we are the prize. Ultimately, it's all about you, the consumer. All of them are fighting for you. Make sure you know that and behave accordingly. This was it. I appreciate you. Everyone from every player base within the gacha space is welcome to Everness. Obviously, there's something for everybody, something everybody can recognize within the gacha. I personally can't wait. I think I'm going to make a lot of content about it. Make sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm excited. I'm excited. All right. I'm excited. It's been a long time since I did the whole list and script of everything they done in the S6R5, man. The S6R5. Damn. That's crazy.